Welcome everybody to a look at a new Radiance Films release, and it is the Bounty Hunter Trilogy. So the first and third films in this series were directed by Shigeru Ozawa, who also did the Street Fighter trilogy, and the second film was directed by Aichi Kudo, who I've not seen anything else from before, but he does seem to have done some interesting films. Looking at his filmography in a quick scan. So this also stars Timisabaru Wakayama as Shikuro Ichibe, who is in all three films as the lead character. He was also in the Tale of Zatoichi Continues, Zatoichi and the Chest of Gold, although as a different character, and Big Time Gambling Boss. So yeah, all three films are also period set samurai films, and the first of which is called Killer's Mission from 1969. So Ichibe is assigned by Shogun Takagawa to prevent the sale of a Dutch ship's load of rifles to the hostile Shogun Satsuma. On his mission, he meets a cowardly Ronin who becomes his assistant, as well as a female spy and a female warrior. So, although the political side of this did lose me now and then due to the numerous characters and their motivations, which is not helped by a relatively short running time of only 88 minutes. Uh, yeah, 89 minutes, sorry. This was still an engrossing effort thanks to the great cast and excellent action scenes. The period production is also well done, the cinematography is on point, it is well paced, the character interactions outside of the political intrigue are enjoyable, the violence is superb, which also helps up the tension as just one cut can easily change the outcome of a fight, as no punches are pulled at all with the violence, and the score is good. So, yeah, an overall solid start to the trilogy, to be honest. 4 out of 5 from me. And yeah, then that was followed up in the same year by The Fort of Death. This clocks in at 99 minutes long. No, 98 minutes long, sorry. So slightly longer than the previous entry. And once again, Ichibe takes up the cause of a group of farmers who are being driven to despair by the vile Lord Ozeki. The villainous lord has driven them to mounting their last stand at a deserted fort against an army of attackers. Um, Ichibe is superb as an expert killer in killing, as an expert in killing and military tactics, who leaves his medical practice at a clinic for the poor in order to counter the vicious tactics of that vile lord. So, yeah, we get a bit more characterization for our lead in this one. We learn that he's a doctor, that he's got a practice, that he's really devoted towards helping people with no matter any of their ills. But this is overall a much darker and more action-orientated effort than its predecessor. But crucially, it doesn't sacrifice the elements that made the first film as good as it was. But this is also as entertaining, even though it is hardly subtle in its depiction of violence. It is also well paced. The additional running time makes this film not as rushed as before. The cast is once again great, and the violence is amped up even more. We also get more guns being used in this one than the previous film. Not that there weren't any guns in that one at all, because obviously the whole part of that plot is trying to, get rid of these guns that are being sold by the Dutch. But yeah, guns are a lot more prevalent in this one, especially with a hand cranked minigun that our lead character uses. So yeah, overall though, just as good as the first film. Maybe slightly better just because it's more entertaining. And finally, on the same disc as the previous one, we have Eight Men to Kill from 1972, so a good few years after the previous entry. And this clocks in at 88 minutes long, so slightly shorter than the first one. And the theft of almost half a ton of gold from the shogunate's official mine threatens to bankrupt the government of Japan. Despite a desperate search, the gold has not been found, causing officials of the shogunate to call on bounty hunter Shikoro Ichibe. So, yeah, this is unfortunately a slight step down in quality of the prior two films, which is ultimately down to the overall lack of action in comparison to the prior two, but everything else that worked before is still present, while the way this ends is way darker and far more downbeat than anything in the prior two combined. That said, this also has a different kind of vibe to it. It's got a bit of a spaghetti western vibe going to for it, which is also well executed. And though the action scenes are and violence aren't as numerous as before, they are still well done. So yeah, unfortunately, like I said, a little bit of a step down over the prior two, but still 3.5 out of 5. So yeah, first two to 4 out of 5, third one 3.5 out of 5. But that is still overall an excellent, consistency over the trilogy, to be honest. And you know, coming off the back of the Thought of Death, maybe Eight Men to Kill will be a little bit easier to you know, swallow in terms of being less action orientated if I watch it again, knowing what I'm getting in for this time around. But still, three really good films, and yeah, surprisingly, with the release, the box set itself has already sold out. Not sure whether or not that's because Radiance Films have made less of these ones in comparison to their other box sets, but yeah, for whatever reason, they've sold out as quickly as they have, and I didn't know that these kind of films were so highly regarded or highly sought after by collectors. So, yeah, that's a big surprise, really. So, if you are after these, then yeah, you're gonna have to look at either third-party sellers, you know, like HMV or Zavvi, or I don't even think Zavvi does Radiance Films, but you know what I mean. Look at other third-party retailers, or unfortunately have to go to eBay, where no doubt the prices will be inflated. So, yeah, the first film has its own disc. It's also got its own reversible artwork, as you can see. And then the other two films share a disc as well as share as artwork. So, not sure why it's been done that way. Why not just have all three on a separate disc? But yeah, this is the way it's been done. In terms of physical extras outside of the different artwork, we've got a booklet, which is actually quite a thick one. It's quite reasonably sized, to be honest. So yeah, we've got contents. Well, we've got cast and crew for all three films. Then we've got So Many People Are Dead from 2023 by Alan Silver. Then we've got Remembering Aichi Kudo from 2000 by Kinji Fukasaku, who obviously did a lot of Yakuza films in the 70s, which also had plenty of violence, so no surprise that he's a fan of Kudo. And then we've got The Decline of Ninkyo Movies Changed My Life. Not sure what that's about. Let's have a quick scan. Where are we? Not that one. So yeah, we do get shots from the film and all of that, as you can see. So this is a looks like a write up from a an article from a magazine called Shukan Haibon from June 1980. Reprinted with permission from Magazine House. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just an excerpt from a much larger thing, but yeah, I'm sure that will be provide some good context to the films overall. And then each film in this trilogy has been transferred in high definition by Toei Company and supplied to Radiance Films as high definition digital masters. So yeah, the quality of the films is pretty good. I would say at times the sound does sound like it's peaking at times. But I guess that's just the way it is sometimes. And then we also get art cards as well with different versions of posters for each film. Um, I can't speak Japanese though, unfortunately, so I don't know which one's picked for which, to be honest. But they all look really, really cool, and I would undoubtedly put some of these up because they've got really cool artwork, especially this one, which I think looks like it's might be Italian or Spanish language version. It's weird when you think about it, because you know in the 60s and early 70s, with the likes of Spain and Mexico were hardly not putting out anything dissimilar to these. And then this one is looks like some kind of like looks like Russian maybe or some kind of Eastern European language. But I really like that kind of artwork that it's got going on because it's quite simple. It's kind of like, oh, I wonder what that's about. Yeah, I really like that kind of more simplistic artwork. And then we've also got the extras on the discs. So yeah, we've got so all of these films are on Blu-ray for the first time in the world, by the way. So yeah, you're not going to find any other boutique label that has done these before. Then you've got uncompressed mono PCM audio. Then you've also got audio commentary on Killer's Mission by author and critic Tom Mez. Interview with film historian Akihiko Aito. Visual essay on Aichi Kudo by Robin Galto. Then you got series poster and press image gallery, as well as trailers and optional English subtitles. So, yeah, overall impressed by this release, to be honest. Although I am more impressed that it's sold out as quickly as it has, because me personally hadn't heard of any of these films before. Even though I have obviously looked into the film, well, watched at least 4 films by Ozawa before, not seen anything else from Kudo before, and these didn't really come on my radar even after watching all of the Street Fighter films from Ozawa. So, yeah, really impressed by them. And one little thing that I did notice, especially in the first film, is that our lead, in one particular part where he plays or pretends to be a blind masseur, did remind me of Zatucci in a lot of ways in that part, which I guess is no surprise given our lead actor was in 2 of the Zatucci films himself. So yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do more of these films though, to be honest, because they were pretty much on a roll in terms of consistency between each film. Um, but yeah, I guess Zatucci is the kind of outlier in terms of putting out 20 odd films in the space of only, what, 10, 15 years or something like that. So, yeah, but I would have happily had fourth, fifth, even sixth films from these because, yeah, like I said, they were being consistently enjoyable. And, yeah, I would have liked to have seen the character been expanded upon more because it felt like he could have gone down a much darker route, more vengeful route after the events of the third film, and which would have been nice to have seen. But still, what we have got is great, and at the end of the day, these are 3 films that have been put on Blu-ray for the first time ever. So yeah, that in of itself is something to celebrate, even if you don't particularly like these kind of films. Because yeah, any film getting a release for the first time is always worth celebrating because that is just helping more people see such a piece of art at the end of the day. So yeah, if you have seen either of these films before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on them. If you've bought this release, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the trilogy as a whole, and yeah, whether or not you like this box set or not. I certainly do. As a big fan of other Japanese films, this is right up my alley. But yeah, if you haven't seen these films before and you are able to get your hands on them, then I would suggest doing so because, yeah, on the whole, really rather great. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.